Now, what I just want to bring to the table today is pretty much why nationality is important. How can we use nationality right now? And you know, how to apply nationality. Hold on, I'm trying to get this screen right. Alright. Now I'm screen sharing for you, John. I'm finna put it back on the diversity jurisdiction page I had it on. The reason why nationality matters, because in law, it determines your political status. In law, your nationality determines your political status. So it determines if you're subject to certain laws and codes or not. And where we at, that's a problem, because they got us, black, Negro, Latin, Mexican, whatever, they got us under these codes that take away our birthrights, our God-given rights, our inalienable rights. So the problem is, now, how do we fix that, and how do we identify that problem? Most people call the problem racism. Is it truly racism? Or is it jurisdiction? Is it foreigners telling us they have authority over us? Is it birthright theft? I say it's birthright theft. I say it's all those things. It's genocide. Now I'm gonna read something from Nationality that identifies the problem and tells us the solution to the problem. Because we have a problem that we need an answer to. And everybody that's here today is part of that answer. Nationality said the salvation of our people is in the hands of the Asiatic people. I'm going to read this divine warning by the prophet for the nations. This was by Nationality. He said, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. So everywhere you go in the world, every free national government has a free national name, and they have their own constitution. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Italians, the Turks, they all have their own free national name and constitution. You know, the Asians, they go by names like Lee. Things like that. You know, Italians go by names like, what they go by, I can't even think of an Italian name right now, but you know, Italians have their own names they go by. The English, they have, the people from England, they got names they go by. And all these people have land that's named after their nation. Chinese people come from China. If your background loud, mute yourself too until you want to speak. You can unmute yourself. Now, Chinese people, they come from China. Italian people come from Italy. Even though those names are codes too. And those are not the names of the land, those political jurisdictions. But what political jurisdiction and landmass we come from? We call ourselves black and Negro, and that's how they got us. We never corrected that by forming our own government and establishing ourselves separate. A free national government means everybody in your government under the same nationality. The U.S. corporate government is not a free national government. That was established as a corporate government to do business and trade with Europeans. Let them get some money with us off our stocks and our land. The U.S. national debt is owed to the nationals who gave them permission to use their crops. So the U.S. corporate government is not a free national government like the Chinese government is. Everybody in the Chinese government or the government of China is Chinese. They under one free national name, and they all got the name Li. And you be like, why they don't got their own separate names and all these diversity of names like we do? Because we don't understand a free national name that ties you to a free national government. But they do. Even if they wasn't taught the importance of why, they know that it's tradition. So I'm going to read that first line from the prophet, what he said again in his speech. He says, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Now you see the importance of what he was saying and open up this speech. He said, those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classified as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. Now you see right there, he telling you the state that we in right now, 100 years later. Those who fail to recognize. What does recognize your free national name mean? That means coming to conscious that you have a free national name that sets you free. The L and the Bay. That sets you free. When you take on the L and the Bay, you tie yourself to a free national name. If you don't recognize this, then you've been treated as an undesirable, and you subject to all inferior names. So by you not recognizing the L in the Bay, you are subject automatically to be treated as inferior. And you can look it up as what an undesirable is in law. An undesirable is somebody who does not have a nationality. It's a stateless person. And we're going to get into what having nationality really is. And how do we use it right now? Like, how are we going to use this today? What's today? August 25th, 2021. How are we going to go out from this meeting today and tomorrow use our free national name and our nationality? How much does that cost? What is the process of that? We're going to get into that. I'm going to finish this paragraph. It is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and to cling to the names and principles that allude to slavery. All across the world, it is a moral sin to call yourself anything that puts you in dishonor and that puts you into a status of slavery. No right people or people that care about themselves would ever do that to themselves. Not knowingly. Our people ain't do it knowingly, but once we know, we're responsible. But at the same time, our people don't even know that the names they going by, Smith, John, these last names and these first names we got, these all delude us to slavery. Davis, you name it, Jones. These are surnames. These are not what you thought was your family bloodline, your lineage. It has a lot to do with your lineage. It has a lot to do with your bloodline. You can definitely trace your bloodline and lineage to begin your journeys. For the modern day records, but you come from an ancient people that already had a name before that. Those names that they gave you was a trust. They created a trust. And that's what that name is. You talk about a slave name, you talking about a trust name. Because you are the trust property. And that's evident in that birth certificate and our social security card and every instrument that we get in that all capital letter. Anytime you get that instrument in all capital letter, that lets you know that's an entity, and that entity is a trust. Oh yeah, that's the trust. They made in 1666. Look it up. The popes made a trust. And then they carried out them orders with the 1913 Emergency Banking Act when they created them birth certificates and the mortgages. So we got evidence of all that, but what we gonna do and how do we save ourselves from this situation once we become conscious of this situation? I'm going to read some from the prophet once again. He said, "You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man in a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national, free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work. Because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America." So this was a calling, a warning. And it's letting you know what state of mind we in, what we need to do, and what's the solution to the whole thing. Because the problem is that we have deluded ourselves to a point of slavery by taking on names of foreigners and principles of foreigners that have came to oppress us. And they have successfully done so. We honor Noble Drew Ali as the prophet because he prophesies. All prophets make prophecies. They prove they self true or not as a prophet if the prophecies come true or not. This is one of his warnings, but the prophecies that he left us have definitely manifested. And this was over 100 years ago when this message was brought to us. This was 1913 when the Moorish-American Temple of America was founded by Noble Drew Ali. That's the reason why I honor him as my prophet. It's because I seen, not with my two eyes, but with my third eye, this man's prophecies come true. So I can definitely honor the fact that he's a prophet. Is he God? Is he something to be worshipped? No. He's someone to be honored. So we extend all honors to the prophet. The principles he brought us was right for his people. They was principles of law. Your law is your religion. Islam means I self-law and master. That is your religion. To self-law, self-govern. That's an ancient principle in Black's Law Dictionary. You can find it. It's called sujuress. Self-law. Self-govern. How do we self-govern? How do we use this today? We self-govern by proclaiming nationality. What does that mean, though? How much does that cost? What's the procedure to that? We're going to go in Black's Law Dictionary and see what nationality is. According to the law, Black's Law Dictionary is ancient law principles. It's not modern day principles only. It is modern day principles, but it's ancient from Egyptian and older civilizations, principles of law and maxims that was passed down. So we definitely use Black's Law Dictionary, which was published back in the 1800s. We definitely use this as a reference to understand the principles of law. What other books? Nationality is free. Nationality is your birthright. You was born with a nationality. It don't cost you nothing. It don't cost the Chinese man nothing to be Chinese. He was born that way. Nationality comes from your mother and your father. Comes from mother and father. So how much do nationality cost? It's free. You was born with it. But what is nationality? Black's Law Dictionary says, 5th edition says, nationality is that quality or character which arises from the act of a person belonging to a nation or state. Now, just off that demonstration, we can make a measure that nationality is a quality that you got to qualify for. How do you qualify for nationality? By being of the same bloodline. Character, which arises from the act of belonging to a nation or state. So nationality is something that comes when you belong to a nation or a state. What nation or state do you belong to? That's the question. What is a nation or a state? You say you from the state of Alabama. You from the state of Georgia. You from the state of New York. You from the state of Texas. Those are colonies. Those are not nation states. Those are corporate states set up as from colonies that we gave permission to do business here. Those are not our states. Those are our oppressors. The state of this, the state of that. To be of something that means you from it or not the true thing itself. That means you property of it. So they all are colonies at the end of the day. What state and political state are you from? Noble Drew Ali came and answered that for us. He brought us nationality. So he had to bring us a state, a nation. He founded the Moorish-American Temple of America. That's your state, Mo. You're You're not from the state of Georgia, the state of Texas, from the Moorish-American Temple of America. I'm going to read on about the definition of nationality. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance. So, your nationality determines your political status. Whether you're going to be treated as an undesirable or as a free national in your own land. But it only comes with reference to allegiance. Who do you pledge allegiance to? You got more saying, I ain't no U.S. citizen out here. You conscious of your bloodline, but yet you didn't understand that nationality got two parts to it. One part is you actually qualifying, and the next part is character, meaning you actually proclaim your allegiance to a nation state, that everybody got the same nationality, organized as a body politic, with a constitution and elected officials. Then you have a state. Noble Drew Ali established that for us. Whether all the Moorish-American temples of America is moving like that or not, that's another question. Well, that's what we come here to restore. Because that's our salvation. That's for us. We the Moorish-Americans. Our nationality determines our political status. Now, how do we prove that in today's time? In my screen share right here. If you screen sharing on the app, you log in, you get to see the screen share exclusive. This is the exclusive way we deal with this. Anytime you dealing with a foreign nation, such as the United States of America, dealing with the Moroccan Empire, or one of their own nation states, such as the Moorish-American Temple of America, we have a thing called diversity jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is authority for someone to say you can do or can't do a certain act. That's the definition of jurisdiction. Diversity means it's diverse. It means not the same. You know what I mean? So diversity jurisdiction deals with the fact that you have two nations that might have a problem with each other. So it might be a conflict of interest somewhere, some type of claim, some injury took place. And now we have to have a law that governs both parties, because you got a constitution and we got a constitution. We are part of Moorish-American Temple of America. We got a constitution. Those of the United States of America have a constitution. Moorish-Americans are not subject to United States of America Constitution. United States of America is not subject to the Moorish-American Temple of America Constitution. But what we are subject to, and we both agreed to, is treaties. The ancient treaties was something we both are subject to, because both sides, being nations, sovereign nations at the time, we agreed that this what we would do if we had conflict. So we have multiple treaties that outline that. Different situations. The most common we know, and the most powerful and longest lasting treaty in history, is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Morocco and the United States of America. That was gave them power to establish a central government and turn the Confederate into a central government where they had international powers to move as a sovereign nation, because they didn't have that until 1787 here on this land. Now we deal with diversity jurisdiction when, say, you get arrested or you go to court. First of all, you have to be a part of Moorish-American Temple of America, because that's the one of the established nation states that was established and founded by Noble Drew Ali, who was appointed from the Sultan of Egypt back in the 1920s to be the El Hajj, head of the state. He was appointed to be the El Hajj. Noble Drew Ali was not self-appointed. He came back to the United States, speaking of the continent, and established the Moorish-American Temple of America, being the first Islamic organization in history in North America, 1913. The Moorish-American Temple of America was founded according to Noble Drew Ali. If you look it up, even the Arabs did not establish an Islamic community before Noble Drew Ali. The Arabs came after Noble Drew Ali with the Ahmadiyya movement in 1920s. Noble Drew Ali has already established for 7 years. And they still didn't even have an organization. They just was a group. And Noble Drew Ali brought us not Orthodox Islam, he brought us Islam to self-empower us. Because Islam means I self-law and master. He brought us the hidden keys of Egypt, appointed from the Sultan of Egypt. So let's get into diversity jurisdiction, because we definitely have established diversity. Like last meeting, we talked about the House Resolution 0689, how it's already been proclaimed from the European government, United States of America, that the Moorish-Americans are the indigenous Americans, and we have a therapeutic government, and our prophet has been proclaimed as our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and has been given a holiday. We have Moorish Holy Week, so we established that last week. So this week we talking about how to execute this. If you pulled over and you're part of a Moorish nation state and you proclaim your nationality with a body politic, you can establish diversity jurisdiction. In the law of the United States, diversity jurisdiction is a form of subject matter jurisdiction. It's a form of that gives U.S. federal courts the power to hear lawsuits that do not involve a federal question. A federal question means it's just based on the Constitution. Like, you got a situation where somebody violated the Constitution, that automatically is a federal question. That goes to the federal court automatically, because that's a federal law. Now, diversity jurisdiction can override that, because off top, if somebody has a problem, you are of a different foreign nation, that gotta go to who can handle that matter. A state case can't handle, a state judge can't handle that case, because he's not delegated with that type of jurisdiction to deal with diversity jurisdiction. So those type of matters have to go to the federal court. Now I'm reading this. This is coming straight from the law, and you can look up the federal codes on that. That'll be Title 28, United States Code 1331, 1331, United States Code. You can look that up. It deals with diversity jurisdiction, period. So Generally speaking, diversity jurisdiction requires two conditions to be met. First, there must be a diversity of citizenship between the parties to the lawsuit, meaning the plaintiffs be citizens of different U.S. states than the defendants. So the first condition they said to qualify in their courts to be diversity jurisdiction is you gotta have diversity of citizenship. Are you American citizen or U.S. citizen? It's levels to citizenship. You know what I'm saying? You got the national, you got the naturalized citizen, you got a national citizen, a naturalized citizen, a subject citizen, and an alien citizen. Moorish-Americans are national citizens. We are American national citizens. We are nationals of America. We are not U.S. citizens, the 14th Amendment citizens. Noble Ali says no need for the application of the 14th and the 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people. So there's no need for us to call ourselves U.S. citizens. There's no need to vote because the 15th Amendment and 14th Amendment deals with U.S. citizen and it deals with your right to vote. We don't need to vote in a system. Noble Ali said we need to have our own constitution and our own vote, our own election, our own national election, our own national ballot. That means we move as our own government. He established a central government for us called the Moorish-American Temple of America. He showed us how to do this. You got to study his works. Now, I'm going to finish reading part with this saying about diversity jurisdiction. It says the United States Constitution in Article 3, Section 2, grants Congress the power to permit federal courts to hear diversity cases through legislation authorizing such jurisdiction. So right there it's telling you, if you look in the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 2, Congress was granted the power from the Constitution to delegate and permit federal courts to hear these diversity cases between foreign nations of different states. Now, I'm just using this as a reference because it's really saying they want to hear cases of different U.S. states. So, truth be told, we have in a foreign state, we supposed to be in consular court. Consular venue is the proper venue we need to establish back here in North America to hear diversity of jurisdiction cases. But this is giving you the principle of the power of nationality and what it really means. When you say you proclaim your nationality, how much does that cost? How do you use that? Prophet Noble Ali already established the whole concept and structure on how we apply nationality, what it means to have a nationality, and how to use it. You have to bear your free national name on a free national constitution. That's how you proclaim your nationality. When you walk outside, what do you call yourself? That's proclaim. Proclaiming happen every day. People say, oh man, I'm charging $2,500, $3,500 for a status correction. That's understandable because paperwork costs, time costs, but at the same time, status correction happens in the mind first. So first of all, we got to start coming to these meetings and start learning and putting our minds together, not just to talk about something, but to learn something to apply. We have to apply this nationality. Now you know when you in a jam, I got these laws. If you writing down and taking notes and studying, I just gave you 2 laws that get you out of any state court. It's called diversity jurisdiction. Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution, already established in 1789, said this. This ain't just Noble Drew Ali saying this. This is 1789 and their Constitution saying it too. Then you got the U.S. codes that was made in the 1920s. The U.S. Code say it too. U.S. Code say Title 28, subsection 1331. Diversity. It says that anytime it's a case arising from diversity of citizenship, it got to go to federal court. Because, see, a state court, if you say, okay, I'm a state of Texas citizen, right? I'm a resident of the state of Texas. That's how they get you. Where you a resident at? Where your residence at? Oh, I'm state of Texas. Okay, I'm from Texas. I'm this and that. All right, that's a colony. Now you subject to the state codes. But what happened when you Moorish-American Temple of America? You subject to the Moorish-American Temple of America Constitution. You're not subject to their Constitution and their codes and their secret codes, because they got secret black codes that they tell you you not they don't tell you that you are undesirable by using names that allude to slavery. They don't tell you that part. So anytime you got a case, you already got a jurisdiction issue that you need to be challenging and raising. We got a diversity of citizenship because I'm a citizen of the Moorish-American Temple of America. I'm a national of America. I'm an American citizen, not a United States citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm a citizen of the Moroccan Empire as a national in this land. This flag, this is my flag. This is of the empire, the ancient empire that had kingdoms, and the kingdoms had nation states, and we had tribes and tribal nations, and we had all types of governments formed that y'all copy y'all government from. That's why y'all got 7 articles in y'all Constitution. That's because of the Circle 7 signs and the 7 Hermetic principles that we taught y'all. Y'all based that off our knowledge that we gave y'all. We helped y'all form this beautiful nation state y'all formed that got corrupted by you know who. And now it's de facto, and the republic been overthrew. And now you running slavery and human trafficking on the people. And now you got the rest of the nations participating in it too. But Noble Drew Ali came to return us back to our ancient forefathers and foremothers. And what he did was bring us out of the darkness into the light, where we have a nation state now. We have something to proclaim our nationality through. You can go right to the Moorish-American Temple of America and proclaim your nationality. Become a part of a government that's established on the Constitution with officials. And we can grow from there. And you can come and help out on the mission, because Grand Sheiks are supposed to be on the front line for the people. So they acting as the trustees for the Noble Drew Ali trust he put into the people. And the people who are the beneficiaries of this has to come and support it. We need all support. I'm stepping up on the front line. I need all support. I'm here to help. But I'm only here to save myself. I can't save none of y'all. You gotta save yourself and help me in my mission to spread that everlasting gospel so people can save themselves. Because the people know not a way to save themselves. They lost in darkness. They follow behind the popes of Rome under the Spanish Inquisition. And modern day, what you call racism is really jurisdiction. And it's all about nationality, because that determines your political status. What is your political status? That deals with your rights. What rights do you have? Certain people have more rights than others depending on their political status. Islam? You got any questions, Moab? Particular situation you want to discuss or anything?
Yeah, when you said joining the Moorish-American temple, that's the first step?
Islam, indeed. Yeah, the first step is becoming a part of a nation state. Because being a part of having nationality is the character, a quality arising from pledging allegiance to a nation state. Who do you have allegiance to? So nationality is two parts. The first part actually is becoming aware of your bloodline as a Moor. That's knowing thyself. Then once you know thyself, then you proclaim that by pledging allegiance with your brothers and sisters under a structured, organized government called a body politic. And that body politic has to have the power to make treaties. It can't be sovereign. The body politic gotta be sovereign. It can't be subject to another body politic. So you can't be a U.S. citizen and a Moorish-American at the same time. That's a sovereign citizen. See what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that the Moorish-American Temple of America you join knows that they are a free national government and they not subject to the United States government. See what I'm saying? So that's why
some of the temples don't.
Yeah, some of the temples on the 501c3, to be honest. So if you want a 501c3, then that means that you don't have sovereignty. That's because that's an agreement that you made to get privileges, to be tax exempt. Means that's you've been given a privilege. Moorish-Americans have no tax obligation. We believe in an ancient principle of the Declaration of Independence of taxation without representation is a crime. That's a sin. Right. We don't have no Moorish-American representation in the U.S. government because that's not our government. So we don't pay no taxes to no foreign government. So the first step is after you become conscious of your nationality, like you are, you conscious of that. So your first step would be to join my temple. I know you have plans on moving to Texas anyway. So through the temple we forming out here, you know the direction I'm going in. So we can proclaim nationality with each other through the temple, you know, through the structure of Moorish-American Temple of America and the Grand Supreme Temple in Chicago, the new Mecca. So we got a body politic that's not under the 501c3. And through that, we can move as a free national government, as Noble Ali, you know, intended for us to move.
Now, with the United States citizenship, I mean, everything that falls underneath that, how do we just submit that back to them? Like,
Islam.
including like all the debt.
Like, yeah.
Say like if my license is suspended for another state, when I join the Moorish-American Temple of America, do I get a different, any documentation like travel?
Yeah, you get a nationality card, and it's gonna bear your free national name. You're gonna get a Moorish-American Temple membership nationality card too. So you're gonna have multiple documentation. Then we show you how to get the U.S. passport, which is the real federal identification.
Mm-hmm.
We show you how to get that with your free national name as a Moorish-American. Because the Prophet says no need for the 14th and 15th Amendment. So anything that derives from a U.S. citizen, there's no need for it. So there's no need for the driver's license. There's no need for their state license or their state IDs. Because once you join the Moorish-American Temple of America, that is your state. That's your new state, which is an ancient state. It's not a new state because we the ancient Moabites. We tied ourselves to the ancient governments. So with your license being suspended, you won't even be going under that straw name anymore anyway. And what we'll do is you'll send proper notification to them to let them notify them of your new political status, and that's null and void. That license is actually null and void because we know, through law what a license is. A license means, once again, a 501c3 agreement. It's a privilege. It's a privilege, and any privilege given to you by a foreign occupying government is a theft of your birthright. Because you have the right to travel. That's a birthright. That's in that U.S. Constitution that Noble Ali asked us to enforce. That's the Fifth Amendment says. I'm sorry, the Fourth Amendment says you must have an arrest warrant to arrest somebody, and a search warrant to search somebody. Mm-hmm. And then if you look up the definition of an arrest, it means to seize you, to stop your movement. So that's the right to travel. When somebody stop your movement, they supposed to have an arrest warrant. Mm-hmm. So it's not that we moving in dishonor when we say, do we need a driver's license or not? It's that we come into conscience of our birthright to travel. That's been even written in their constitution. You know what I'm saying? That we got a birthright to travel. And if they want to stop our travel, they got to have a arrest warrant and search warrant. And then it's diversity of jurisdiction on that. So once we come conscious of that, now we know we're more. See, that's what a Moorish-American is. You have to first know you qualify, and how you qualify is by knowing what a Moor is. You gotta know what your rights is. You ain't no Moorish-American if you don't know what your rights is. You gotta know what your rights is. And that Constitution help us know our rights. Because those principles come from the ancient principles of our ancient governments. So when we study that Constitution, it reawakens your mind to certain rights and liberties that have been taken away from you in this present day. You look at the Fourth Amendment and you realize your right to travel has been taken away because the only reason why you thought you need a driver's license so you wouldn't be stopped. But you ain't need no driver's license to stop being stopped. You need an arrest warrant. They need an arrest warrant. It ain't what you need, it's what they need.
What they need, yeah.
They supposed to have an arrest warrant to stop you. They've been in violation in de facto. That's why Noble Drew Ali came, because we in slavery. We getting pulled over and we worry about pulling out a card for them. They supposed to have an arrest warrant. Noble Drew Ali say stop pulling out your nationality card to them Europeans. It's causing confusion. Because you confused. What you pulling out your nationality card? You ain't even got to identify yourself. Ain't no crime being committed yet. According to their constitution, they law, they supposed to identify themselves and they supposed to have an arrest warrant supported by oath of affirmation. That means it got to be notarized. Affidavit supporting the reason why they had this warrant. And the warrant got to be from a delegated judge, delegated from Congress, from that Constitution. You got to be a creature of the Constitution. So I'm talking, we don't have to have that driver's license because we got the right to travel on top from even the NA law. It says that you, Fourth Amendment, they got to have an arrest warrant to stop you. Or that's called a false arrest and a warrantless arrest. And according to the fruit from the poisonous tree doctrine, any false arrest, any false arrest cannot be justified. They can't turn around and arrest you for some drugs in your car, or a fire, or an arm in your car, or a gun, which you might call it, in your car, and the whole time they broke the law. That's fruit from the poisonous tree.
Right.
Fruit from the poisonous tree means the seed that planted was poisonous. So you can't plant a poisonous seed and think you're not going to get poisonous fruit. You can't break the law to catch me breaking the law.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I did wasn't breaking the law. But what you did was breaking the law. Because ain't nothing in the Constitution say you cannot have a firearm. And what we call firearm is really an arm. It's not no fire.
Right, man. Come out of here.
It's a hot slug coming out of it. You might see a spark of fire, but that's not make it a fire gun. It don't project fire out of it. So it's the wordplay and the legalese from these Black Law Dictionary words. That's all it is. It's Black's Law Dictionary and these legalese. You know, that's all it is.
So we wouldn't need dual citizenship, none of that either.
Oh no.
That's absolutely.
Oh no. Dual citizenship. Dual citizenship means you part of two jurisdictions. So when you dealing with that, our dual citizenship is that we citizens of the Moroccan Empire and of the Moorish-American Temple of America. We would never be citizens of the United States. That's the original 13th Amendment even declared in their law we couldn't be a part of the United States by Abraham Lincoln. No person of African descent can be part of the United States, and that's even in the Dred Scott case. That was ruled by the judge in the Dred Scott case before the Civil War, that no person of African descent can ever be a citizen of the United States because they're colonies.
Wow.
See, when you come conscious of your bloodline, that right there, that means that you know that you can't be subject to somebody that's foreign, because your people are the creators of all the nations. So if we the original people, how can we ever be under something we created? That's like your mother. That's like your mother taking orders from you. It don't work out because she created you. How can she ever take a position to be under you and all right? You know what I mean? Well, we know in business it might have to go like that, but just far as who got the last say so on things. Come on, man, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. You came from us, we can never be subject to you. Only thing we subject to is Allah, which is the Almighty Creator. And we are part of that. We are Allah. A 5-point star stands for arm, leg, arm, head. And our 5 principles that come from the ancient Egyptian orders: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So we can never be subject to them because, like when you say, do we return back all their things, even in their Bible, when they ask Jesus, they say, Jesus, should we pay taxes to the Caesar? And Jesus said, let me see what you talking about paying taxes with. And then they showed it to Jesus, and it had Caesar face on it. Meaning it was his stuff. So he told them, he said, return with Caesar's. So that's the same thing with that driver's license. That ain't your driver's license. Because you got a right to travel. That's a bond that stole your birthright. So what you supposed to do is return to Caesar is what Caesar's. Return to him, his shit was his. Noble Ali told us that. He said, do all your new business in your free national name. He said, leave all old business as old business. So, you know what I'm saying? We go back and correct and get them notice of things. Like, them know that's old business. We ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? That driver's license being suspended, that was under permission. That was under when we didn't know we had birthrights. Now that we came conscious that we know we got birthrights, that's over with. That's old business. Now we doing business in our free national name. You know what I'm saying? We didn't proclaim our nationality. Now we didn't recognize government structure. We are part of a government. You know what I'm saying? We got the customs, and we got the free national name, and we got our free national constitution to go by. And it makes us free. We ain't no U.S. citizens. We ain't the 14th Amendment citizens. That's over with. We ain't Negro, black. That's over with. Noble Gerard Lee already came and proclaimed that on public record for y'all. So y'all been known about that. It's over 100 years. You know that was over with. Now we came up as the children of the age of Aquarius. We came in here with our eyes wide open. We know what's up now. We would not be subject to the same things our ancestors were subject to. We ain't falling for that okie doke no more. That hocus pocus, lose your focus. Islam. We ain't going for that. We the brave Moors. We the fearless ones. We ain't the cowardly lions. We ain't the pussycats.
Right.
We the Hiram's of Beth that woke up. We in rose. It's the grand rising of the Moors since 1913 AD. It's been the rise of the Moors. When we established the Moorish Science Temple of America, that was the rise of the Moors. Let you know we here to stay. We've been given delegated power from the Sultan of Morocco before it was reduced to a kingdom. We had an empire, and the empire is now revived. But we got to set up the nation states. We need nation states in every territory, everywhere. Everybody is a sheep. Everybody on this call is a sheep. This sheep training right now. While I'm in sheep training, y'all in sheep training with me. We all gonna become masters at this, and we all gonna teach the people. We the leaders. See, many are called, but few are chosen. It was hundreds of people that seen this invitation to this meeting. But if you really serious, you the leader. You the one here to lead the nation. Believe it or not, you the one. It's on us. And I'm stepping on the front line. I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. I'm coming every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday consistently to bring it to the people. And I ain't going to hold y'all up. We've been on here. This is almost 8:30 now. But I'm going to answer any questions you got if you got some more questions. If you want to talk about something else, you want to get another question off, you can get another question off, but we're going to end it up and come back again on Friday. Same time on Friday, 7 o'clock. And we ain't going to get on the same subject. We're going to be active. Now we're going to see, okay, how do we proclaim through the temple? What it takes? What's the next step? We need to go to the next step. We need to be actively moving, because when I'm moving, you moving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do we got the right paperwork? How do we let these government officials know, we a part of Moorish Science Temple? How we let them know we are more, what we need to do Friday. We don't need to wait till next week.
Okay.
And hit me up too, Mo, because, I got the credit demonstration for you too. Because everybody in my temple finna get 100K. That's what I'm bringing. Noble Gerard Lee said, take finances to raise this nation. We got 850 credit team that we bringing part of the Moorish Science Temple of America to raise the finances of the people. I'm on my journey to 100K, and I'm going to lead the way. You know what I'm saying? Show you how it's done. I'll show you how to get 100K in business credit.
For the nationality, I'll send that back to you.
You say what happened?
Do I fill out that form that you had sent me through my email?
Oh, for the
back to you.
yeah, it was an application.
Yeah, it's an application.
Yeah, you can send that, and then I'm gonna send you the affidavit for the name change that we put on record.
Okay.
If you ain't did that one yet,
Okay.
that's the
Now,
paperwork we do.
do we have to send something to the states that we are pretty much got our birth certificate and social, like to pretty much surrender these documentations as a United States citizen.
Nah, you ain't gotta surrender the documents. You just we'll actually get into that Friday how to move with those instruments.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because those instruments mean something, and we by them still having, put it like this, they still have jurisdiction over the land, and we still have to work inside their system until we establish our own.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather you move strategic the way I move, and I use public and private. I move in a public with their system and the private, but I do it as a Moorish-American both ways. So we'll get into that Friday. That'll be a great subject matter. We definitely get into how do we operate as Moorish-Americans with these Social Security cards and birth certificates while we are part of the temple and things like that. Yep, that's exactly what we're gonna get into more. But yeah, to answer your question on that, no, we don't surrender those. But once we do have full sovereignty, we will be surrendering those.
Okay.
But right now, we move in unlimited sovereignty until we get everything we need for us to move as a nation state. Like, we still have our own courts to establish military, you know what I'm saying? And then and it don't take a lot of us, like it gotta be millions of us. We just gotta have maybe like 7 or more people. And then we can start working on moving forward on surrendering documents and things like that and establishing our own documents.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, we get into that Friday because I got some remedies to that, how to move with that now. Like, we already create our own record live birth certificate. And we, you know what I'm saying, we do the name change and things like that. So it's some remedies we got, and we gonna get into that Friday for sure.
Okay,
So it's 8:30 now. We gonna close it up. I appreciate y'all for coming. I'm gonna try to give y'all more every time just for coming through. You know, this is being recorded too. I got a recorded video. I got a video recorded. I'm gonna post on my. I'm gonna post this on the Facebook, and I'm gonna try to post it on the Instagram too, and probably YouTube. Yeah, I'm posting on the YouTube for sure too.